Joe Hopkins here, and I have a question. I have a question that has plagued us guitarists forever. Why won't my G string stay in tune? That's right, my G string. Insert sexual innuendo here. So, when I was a kid, I believed the conventional wisdom that the 3x3 tuners, i.e. the Gibson style ones that have 3 on each side, are more plagued with this than the Fender style 6-in-a-row tuners, where all 6 are in a row. I believed it. I figured that must be it. However, I was blessed as a young man, and I had 3 guitars that all stayed in tune really well. 2 of them were 6-in-a-rows, and 1 was a 3x3. So I just figured, okay, my 3x3 is a really good one, and the conventional wisdom must be true. But as I've been collecting guitars over the years, I've found something odd. I've bought a lot of guitars with the 3x3 tuners. I've even bought a lot. I have a number of Les Paul style guitars. And what I've found is some of them stay in tune great, and some of them have problems with the G string. And I have a pile of guitars with the 6-in-a-row tuners, the Fender style ones. Some of them stay in tune great, and some of them have problems with the G string. Oh my God. So it's not just the 3x3s, right? And I've been thinking about it. Why? Why is this? The G string particularly, and sometimes for some reason on certain guitars, the B string, which I don't get, right? I have 2 7-strings. One of them has trouble with the low B string staying in tune, and the other one doesn't. And I don't know why certain strings on certain guitars have so much trouble. So I was thinking, okay, could it be the tuners, right? Well, let's see. Of my 3x3s, I'm looking around my room here. I have, like half of them have premium tuners. 2 of them are Grover tuners. And one of them is something else. And the others have generics. And it doesn't seem to make a difference. Even with the Grover tuners, one of them stays in tune great, and the other one has trouble with the G string. And with the generic tuners, it's the same thing. I got 2 of them with generic tuners that don't have a single problem. Never a complaint. And I've got 1 or 2 here. I'm looking around. Yeah, 2 of them that have problems with the G string. Actually, I have 2 of them with generic tuners that do great. Maybe 3. I have to look around, but it doesn't seem to be the tuners. Because with the premium tuners, it seems to be give and take, and the same thing with the generics. Some of them stay in tune, some of them don't. So maybe some sort of locking mechanism. I actually don't have locking tuners. Maybe that would help. But I do have a locking tremolo. I have a Floyd Rose on one of them that has a 3x3, and the G string goes out of tune on it, whether I have it locked or not. And, you know, I have noticed with the premium tuners, it doesn't go as far out of tune or as often. So that's a help, that's a benefit, but it still happens. And I don't know why. So with my 6-in-a-row tuners, some of them have premium tuning pegs on them. Some of them have generic ones. And it also doesn't seem to make a difference. The ones that have a problem, and the ones that don't. And I even tried changing the tuners on one of them to something better, and it made no difference. Other than, I guess it didn't go quite as far out of tune, but it would still do it, right? So I've been looking online. What can I do to help this? And I've seen all kinds of advice, right? The tuners were one of them, and I don't know. It doesn't seem to really help. So I've heard of lubing your nut. Insert joke there. So I lubed my nuts, and it didn't really make a difference, right? The lube, they got that graphite stuff, or you can use a pencil. You can just take a pencil and draw it in the little string groove on the nut there, and it didn't really seem to make much difference. They tuned easier. You no longer had that thing where you tune it up, you go to play it, it goes dong, and you know, not where it breaks, but where it just makes that pop. and goes out of tune, you got to retune it. It didn't do that anymore. So it helped that. So that's a good thing, you know, but it didn't really help the tuning any. So, okay, a better bridge. I've changed bridges on a couple of it. It doesn't seem to help. I mean, like I said, the one that has trouble with it has a Floyd Rose tremolo on it. So I mean, it's got premium stuff and Grover tuners and and the whole deal. And the G string still goes out. In fact, that's the one where the B string. That's one of the ones where the B string has a problem. I got like 3 guitars where the B string goes out, the high B. And I don't understand that at all because people don't usually complain about that, but it just happens on some ones, I guess. So my one guitar, it's got all the premium stuff and it still has the problems, right? So I've been wondering what do, right? So strings, okay. Some people have told me better strings or different strings. Well, last month I changed the strings on 4 of my guitars. 3 of them have problems with the G string. And after I changed the strings, one of those 3 had no more problem. It fixed it. Amazing. New strings, right? I got like Diodario, I forget what they're called, but they're Diodario strings. And it fixed it on that one. And on the other 2, same strings, right? The same Diodario strings. It didn't do anything. It still does it. And, you know, over the years, I've tried just about everything that people say to try. And sometimes it works, like with the strings. You know, I have changed the bridge on a guitar or 2, and it fixed it on one, and it didn't on the other. I've tried, like I said, lubing the nuts, and that didn't help any of them for some reason. But yeah, it seems like it's a toss-up. You know what I mean? In fact, I'll get guitars that are very similar from the same manufacturer, try different ones, and one has the problem and the other doesn't. It seems to be utterly random, as far as I can tell. Totally up to the instrument. It usually is the G string, but it's on some guitars and not others, and I can't really find a rhyme or reason to it. And I've fixed it on a couple of them. Like I said, the one with different strings, the other one with a different, it was either the bridge or the saddle. I changed and it fixed it. And there was another guitar I had that when I actually sat down and set the intonation on it, adjusted all the intonation and tried to get that in, that actually reduced the problem. It didn't get rid of it, but it really reduced it. And I'm not sure what rhyme or reason there is to it, other than if you have this problem, start with the cheapest things first and work your way up if it bothers you. You know, if it doesn't bother you, who cares? But if it bothers you, start with the cheapest things first. You can first try lubing the nut. That might actually work with some of them. It didn't really do it for me, but it might work with yours. You could try different strings. It's not terribly expensive, and we all change our strings periodically anyway. I'm pretty sure it doesn't seem to happen with bass guitars nearly as much. I could be wrong. I own 2 basses, and my brother owns 2 basses, and I've never really seen a problem with this on bass guitars with any of the strings going out of tune like that. Like basses hold their stability so much better. Which I figured then, like 7-string guitars, the low string should hold its tuning better. But like I said, I have 2 7-strings, and one of them, that low string goes out, and I don't know why. So anyway, yeah, start with the cheapest things and work your way up to new bridge, saddle, tuners. See if there's something that works. If you get new tuners, I'd say get locking tuners and see if that helps. I haven't tried that, and maybe I should. Because, yeah, I do record music, and it's quite annoying when you're doing a really good take and the guitar drifts out of tune while you're playing. It can be quite annoying. So, yeah, especially when it's a certain guitar that you want that certain sound on your recording, which is quite annoying. The B string goes out of tune and the G string on my Telecaster. For some, well, one of my Telecasters, for some unknown reason. And I really like the way the guitar sounds. So I found one thing that helps is play it for about 5 minutes first. I guess warm it up, you know, warms up in your hands, and that reduces the it gets less, the problem gets less over time as you play it, but it still does it. So if anybody's got any suggestions, something else that might work, leave a comment. And if anybody is interested in what works, hey, take a look at the comments, right? Take a look, see if anybody suggested anything. Because I'd love to have a better idea of how to fix the problem, especially on certain guitars of mine. I have certain ones I don't care that much, but there are certain ones that I would really like to fix this, and I've tried and can't. So there you go. Why does my G string go out of tune? I usually try to be pretty informative, but this one I'm literally asking the question and hoping somebody knows. Like I said, I've watched a lot of videos on it and I've followed a lot of advice, and it's worked in a couple of instances, but not in the others. So, all right. So anyway, I would appreciate the help. Subscribe to my channel. And here in a minute is an end screen, and there's a reviews playlist comes up. You should check out my guitar reviews, and you should check out my songs. There's a songs playlist too. And I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? I love you guys. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.